In this video, I'm going to show you how you can fetch Wikimedia Commons photos within your make.com scenarios. Then I'll show you how you can upload those to WordPress as both featured images and in-content images, as well as add in relevant attributions. This image attribution data we get from Wikimedia Commons can be in lots of different formats. It's quite awkward, so we're going to pass in the response into OpenAI's GPT-4o to give us a consistent response. When you know how to do this, you can adapt our bigger blogging automation scenarios. So instead of grabbing AI-generated images, you can grab images from Wikimedia Commons, which may be a lot more suitable to your use case. Okay, I've started with a blank scenario here. I'm just going to start by setting a variable. The variable name will be query. I'm just going to type in birds. I'm doing this to hard code the query we're going to send to Wikimedia. Generally, you will be linking this to an Airtable or a Google Sheet or some other trigger where you're passing in this value. We need to add this URL into the request. You can find this in the description of the video, and then just update this GSR search. After this section here, you need to add in the variable or the reference to the data item for your query. So that's what I add there. Then go down and parse response, and everything else can be default. This is a basic request. All right, I'm going to click run once and see what response we get. So we've parsed the response and we go down to data, query, pages. We see we get a bunch of responses along with the image info and the URL. So let's look at the first result. We can get this URL. Looks good. Now, if you just want to use those images without attributing the images, I would not recommend that. But if you are doing that, then you can just use the output from that. So the data, query, and pages, and get the image info. So what you could do is set variable. We'll go to set variable, and the variable name will be image URL, and then go to data, query, pages, this. So what you would do here is go up to arrays, and you see we have this first option. And the first option is going to return the first element of an array, and then select pages. Now let's just see data, query, pages is a collection. I think it's first. And then I think we need to change this to an array. So to an array. So first off, we get the pages response from Wikimedia. We're going to convert that from a collection to an array, then get the first item from that. Okay, let's work from there. We'll press run once. Okay, we've got a response. And then we have the image URL and value and image info. And okay, we got something. Right, so let's say that we're going to use this. We're going to upload this to WordPress or something like that. To test this out, I'm just going to select another set variable, and then the value, image info, and URL. So image, I'm going to call this image URL. I'm actually going to change this to first result. So I know there's a bit of messing around there, but I'm going to call this first result. And there we go. Okay, I'll press OK, save, I'll run again. Perfect, so we have the value. Now I'm going to add a filter here because we do not want this to continue if there are no results. So I'll go to if query pages and select exists. I'll just add results as the name of that filter. So I'll press save. Now I'm going to just add in a big query that there should not be a result. Does it pass through this? No, that's perfect. So let's go back. We'll run this again. That looks good. So now we get a result. So now you could just pass that image URL directly to WordPress using the steps I'm going to show you later on. But for the moment, I'm going to remove these modules and then show you how to do the entire process of getting the image and getting the attribution and then uploading that to WordPress. So I'll click add a module, and then I'm going to unlink these. I'm going to press shift and down. I'm going to just move those away from the scenario for the moment. Now what I want to do here is add a transform to JSON object. I want to get the first result from this, similar to what we did already. So I'm going to select this to array, add that to the end, and respond with the first one. You could, if you want to shuffle the responses and select a random result, you could add in a shuffle module here, and then that will shuffle the array and then return the first one from that. Press OK, looks good. And save that. Next up, we want to get an OpenAI module, create a chat completion prompt. I'm going to select chat 4.0 latest. Now I'm going to add in a system role, which will give the AI the exact instructions that we want. So we've given very specific instructions for what we wanted this to do. You will respond in JSON format with the following values. And I'm getting it to respond in JSON so that it will respond with multiple data items that then we can use in the automation later. It's pretty cool if you've not seen this already. So it's going to respond with the image URL in plain text, without the extension, and the file extension like JPEG or PNG. I'll tell you exactly why I'm doing that later, but this is used to get around a quirk with the WordPress upload module. So if you're not uploading this to WordPress, you might not want to do this maybe you could just get the full image name and URL. Then this attribution. I'm getting this respondent HTML starting with this p image credit. The attribution should be in plain text other than the link to the license. Must include the attribution, author, license details in plain text if available. If linking to a license, then add the license name and link to the license with a no follow link. If none available, then respond with an empty string. So this is no follow. This is for SEO purposes. It means that we're not going to pass the link juice to those pages and it will retain it for our own website. Now for add message, I'm going to add user role, and then we're going to select the JSON string that we selected over here. Then I'm going to go down to show advanced settings. Response format must be in JSON object, parse JSON response, press save. Perfect, that looks good. I'm going to click run once. It's got the response and now it's passing that to OpenAI. Now if we go down here, go to the result. Excellent. So we have the full image URL here. Looks perfect. We have the file name and the file extension, and we have the image credit, which is perfect. Really, that's the difficult part. After this, we're going to upload this to WordPress. So I'll select this HTTP module. I'm going to get a file. I'm going to pass in the image URL. So as you see here, because we responded in JSON format, we see these 4 different data items from that one OpenAI GPT-4o response. So we do not need to have 4 separate calls to OpenAI, which is a lot more efficient and just easier to work with. I'm going to add in a label here, which is if image URL exists, and for image URL exists. So we do not want it to go through this process if there's no image returned from OpenAI. Now we will have gotten the HTTP data. I'm going to press save just to make sure this maps in the next step. Under WordPress, go to WordPress and just type media. I want to create a media item. We have an entire video on this channel of how to upload images to WordPress, but I'll just give you a crash course here. You will select your WordPress connection. Again, I have another video on how to do that. Instead of selecting this get a file mapping, it's quite nice that make.com does this auto mapping, but there is a quirk in this make.com module, whereas if you have the same file name, it's going to overwrite existing files on the server, which is not good. So instead of getting the file name, we're going to keep this data item mapping, but we're going to use this file name that we got back from OpenAI. We're going to add in an underscore, going to go up here to the date and then add in a timestamp, which really should make sure that we have unique values for this. There's another approach I've talked about in the other video linked below, but this should be perfect. Then finally go back up here and we'll select the file extension. That's everything for now. You can add these other fields if you want. So I'll press OK, press save. After you do that, you go to WordPress and you then want to type in media again. You want to get the media item and then select the media item ID here, press OK. The reason for this is that we want to get the actual image URL, the publicly accessible image URL for that image that's been created in this create a media item module. Then finally, we'll go to WordPress, create a post. Again, make sure that you're using the same connection. For title, I'm just going to write, this is a test blog post. Of course, you will be populating this data with a dynamic value from Airtable or generated by AI or throughout a more advanced process like in our other blueprints. Okay, for the content of this post, I'm just going to add in some text at the start just to show that this is the start of the blog post. This is the starting content of the blog post. Okay, after that, we're going to add in an image tag. Just to take a step back here, if you just want to make the featured image, the image that we just got via Wikimedia, which is that you see here, it's at the very top of the blog post, then what you would do is go all the way down to the featured media ID element here, and then select this media item ID from this create a media item module, which was this here. So if you want to upload this as a featured media item, you actually do not need to add this step to get the media item, because adding the media item via the featured media ID field here, it will automatically map all of that. But if you want to use the image within the content itself, then you should use this get a media item module. Within this type dropdown, I'm just going to select post. Now, let's say that we want to add this in as an in-content image. What you do is just construct some HTML. So we say image src equals, and then go down and then select the source URL from that get a media item ID. And that's everything you need to display an image. If you want, you can add other things like alt text and titles and all of the rest. After that, we'll want to add in our attribution. So just add in this, just select your attribution that we got back from OpenAI. We've already constructed the HTML, so that should be good. And if you want the HTML to be in a different format, just tweak the prompt from OpenAI earlier on. Finally, if you want to add in the attribution for the featured image, there are a bunch of different ways to do that. But let's just say we could do featured image credit and just add that in at the very bottom of the blog post. So I'm going to add in a p tag and then a closing p tag and then select the attribution like we see here. Now, generally, you're probably not going to do both, but just pick the one that you want. So that looks good. I'm going to press save. I'll click run once to run the automation. All right, that looks good. We've got the file. It's now uploading the file to WordPress. Okay, it's uploaded the file and it's created the post. Perfect, that looks good. We have the featured image. We have just text that I added at the start. We have the in-content image, which looks good. We have the image credit, as you see here, with clickable links. That looks good, but I just noticed that these links are not marked as no follow within the code. So I'm going to go in and be more specific in the prompting here with a no follow link. So if link into a license, add a license with a link, you must include a rel no follow attribute to the link. So okay, press save. I'll run that again. Okay, that's finished processing and perfect, that worked. We have this rel no follow tag as expected. You'll see these image credits vary a bit from image to image. The data that we get from Wikimedia can be quite different for this. And also the way the AI constructs this image credit could vary a bit too. So if you want an exact format for how you want them to appear, then just update this prompt with the exact style of attribution that you want, and you can provide some simple examples. If you want to get way ahead in your AI automation journey, then check out the link in the description to our community, where you'll get access to all of our automation templates. You'll get instant access to all of these courses with more on the way. You can get support from us via our live workshops and through our active discussion boards.